And joining us now, Iraq War veteran, I'm delighted he's with us, Chris Nuim, and Walid Phares, of course, and Don Bramer, former intel officer, Iraq War veteran. Gentlemen, great to see you tonight. We always pray for our troops in harm's way on nights like tonight, and it's a serious time every time we use military force overseas. Walid, let's get your sense on this. We were talking a little earlier about Syria, like Iraq, extremely complicated place. I think we in America, we think of the Middle East all as one place.
That's right.
And it's the exact opposite of that. It's like 100 places. Tell us about Syria on the ground and your view of what happened tonight.
What happened tonight, Laura, what I know, what I can see is that this is not a U.S.-Syria operation. This is not the invasion of Iraq. This is not the invasion of Afghanistan. For those who are debating and getting very warm about this issue, this is a very specific strike against the Assad regime capacities to deliver chemical weapons. Now, we cannot judge tonight. If the Syrian regime decides to stop using it, operation is over. If there are reactions, which I anticipate not necessarily in Damascus, but other parts of Syria where we have assets, it's a different story.
Don?
I would have to agree. And, you know, we did 3 precision attacks with facilities that are sarin gas, which has a very high density and a very low burn-off rate. So I think if Assad and his folks act out and they take this as the message it was meant to be, then this could resolve itself rather quick. Optimistically, I don't think so. I think that Assad will react, and then we'll see what happens tomorrow morning.
Chris, as former intel officer, you're so young, how can you be a former intel officer? But, you know, apparently we hit a number of storage facilities. My question is, if we knew the storage facilities, this might be a really dumb question, but if you know the storage facilities are there, and we thought, well, they had destroyed the weapons previously, we launched our strikes against the airfield last year, why didn't we do a preemptive strike? Why did we wait until they used the weapons and 40 people were killed and more badly injured, apparently, tonight still in hospitals?
That's a great question, Larry. It was former military police. Don's the intel guy, but
okay.
Close enough. I learned a lot from being around him. But I think that we looked at the multilateral approach and the due diligence of having those walk-ups and the intel gathering and having all those allies. We've looked at this for a few days. We know what this is, and they've had plenty of opportunities. So right now, the quantity of the strike has increased, so we're hitting those facilities designed to prevent those aerial ships from doing this again and those planes from launching. So we're trying to hit him hard enough where he stops doing this.
Do we think that Europe is really with us? I mean, we talked about this earlier, and Sebastian got kind of angry. But my question is a simple one. We have an international consensus against the use of chemical weapons, sarin gas. I mean, can we think of a time in world history where sarin gas and chlorine were used at the same time?
No.
I don't think so. Weird. That's just weird. So we have an international consensus. You can't use this. Can't do it. We got children dying. These videos, horrific. The president spoke to that clearly. Where is the international community? Where is the money help? Where's the military help? Why is it that the United States has to carry the load for everyone when the United States has a huge debt level? And again, Sebastian was like, are you saying that we don't have a moral duty? I'm not saying we don't have a moral duty, but we have a moral duty to, like, the next generation and the generation after that, that we don't hand them a country that is completely empty of financial future. So I'm concerned about that as the international consensus is clearly, supposedly developed. Walid.
Laura, the consensus for tonight, we saw the United States, France, and England acting together. This is great. This is emotionally even great. But it's only for tonight. Because if you want to go further against the regime, you'll be going against Hezbollah. You'll be going against Iran. And who is pressuring us not to change our policy regarding Iran? The Europeans. So they are with us against the chemical weapons. But if we tell them we're going to put serious pressure on Iran.
Which is the problem. Which is the real problem in the Middle East.
Which is the real problem. They're going to say, oh, no, we can't be with you against Iran. We're going to lose the Iran deal. And this is where it becomes very complicated. Let me take us to one other area in Syria. We have 2,000 troops in the northeastern part of Syria. Those troops are now surrounded, if you want, strategically by the Iranians, by Hezbollah, by Assad. My concern is, what's the follow-up? What is the status quo for these troops? Because now that we have administered one strike, I'm really eager to know if the enemy is going to strike back against our troops. That's the biggest question of the night for me.
Don, Mattis just a few days ago, according to the New York Times, description of his mindset. Defense Secretary Jim Mattis is trying to slow the rush to a military strike, in part because despite what Ms. Haley, Nikki Haley, said, we have the full screen, guys, he feels he needs more evidence to corroborate that President Bashar al-Assad's regime was responsible for the deaths. Mr. Mattis is also said to be concerned that a bombing campaign could lead to a wider conflict with Mr. Assad's two main defenders, Russia and Iran. Now, that was, I guess, just yesterday, not 2 days ago. A lot was apparently determined and confirmed over the last 24 hours. But, I don't know, just body language, reading him, do you think he seemed 100% confident about what we saw tonight? I mean, to me, like I just see Mattis when he's, like, all in.
Game on.
That's just my body language. I could be totally wrong, but he seemed like, he was, he's not saying he's not for it, but I don't know. It just seems like Mattis is worried. He's a warrior. You guys are warriors.
Absolutely.
As a warrior, you know what war is like.
I think he had a lot.
As limited as this was.
Right. I think he had a lot on his table tonight. There's been a lot of speculation. I mean, today you heard reports coming out of Syria and Russia that this was all a result of doings of the UK.
Oh, so British planted it all? Yeah.
You bet. So there's mixed stories coming out. Mattis has said, we want to move this slow. We don't want to really go full head-to-head with Russia. So I think that's why we had the attacks we did tonight, where there were 3 precise hits. So we did it at a time, 3 a.m. in the morning, about where we mitigated any risk of civilian casualties. Most people are away. They were, smart bombs that went in there right first. I think we did it right, but he's a general. He's been around this all of his life. Anytime that you have the situation where you're going to send troops into war, that you're going to think about it, and that's going to lay heavy on your heart. I think he doesn't want to be the guy that brings people in.
All right, guys, thanks so much.